Hey, this is Mark Cuban, and you're watching the whole podcast. And for that reason, I'm out.
Sasha, you look lovely. Tom,
Sorry, Levine,
how you doing? Good to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you, Rob. As I'm wiping like lipstick off.
Lip clip.
No, I like that lipstick.
Thank you, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, Tom Arnold's former neighbor.
Next door neighbor, yeah.
Do you get a deal on it? I get her eyebrow stuff.
We should get a deal.
I'll tell you what, though, me and her, have we talked about this before?
I'm sure we have.
We went and had to go kick a neighbor's ass because their dog got loose and bit Anastasia's mom. And I didn't even know she was the eyebrow lady. But we the dog was got close to biting one of my kids. I was pushing him in a stroller. And the dog was not on a leash. And the neighbor did not believe in leashes. And I got a hold of the dog. And I took it up the hill, me and Anastasia, and I said, I grabbed the dog. I said, if this dog gets loose again, I'm going to throw this dog through this plate glass window. I said that to the bodyguard of the house. I've loved dogs, but this dog, it's the owner's fault always.
Always, yeah.
This dog was, this neighbor didn't believe in leashing her dogs. And
Anastasia is a Russian.
She's tough chick. She's tough chick, and she and I were buddies. And then my wife at the time's like, I go, hey, I just got a huge brawl with the neighbor up the hill with the neighbor lady and I. And she goes, what neighbor? I go, the neighbor right there. She goes, oh my God, Anastasia. I go, yeah, I think that's her name. She goes, oh my God, you didn't ruin our relationship with her, did you? I go, well, ruin our relationship with her. She goes, Oprah was there yesterday. I go, what? And she goes, eyebrows. I go, she just sold her company for $1 billion. I go, for eyebrows? But
people love eyebrows for some reason. Women are big on eyebrows. It's a big thing.
You walk into her house, not our house, her house. You walk in the door, and it's a different world. Like everything is a piece of art, and it opens like the door to her house. The door to our house is the same street, same way, but once inside, it's like one of those magical things, like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's as if it's a different world. I'm not shitting you. It's a whole different thing.
I contribute to that art. I buy that.
So do I. Yeah.
And really nice, down to earth. And she built her daughter a house next door, but she really is.
That should have been your next wife.
I would have married her. I would have in a heartbeat.
How have you guys been since we last spoke?
We've been good. We've blown up quite a bit. We've had some.
That's here. We're so proud of you.
We didn't get COVID either.
Yeah, neither. We avoided that too.
Well, that's because we don't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, and I want to, when we start, I definitely want to touch on this.
We haven't started?
No. But we can count that. You know what? I can just make this the beginning.
Yeah, because we're trying to get Anastasia as a sponsor here, Rob.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem. Well, if you haven't already figured it out, welcome to the whole. I am Rob Sprance.
Yeah.
I'm Lori Levine.
And coming back on our show, I have to say, I'm really excited. Tom Arnold and Sasha Boggs are back.
Yeah.
And now, the last time we had you on, we had just started. Our show was dormant for like a year and a half, and we started it up. And Tom, you were one of our first guests.
Oh, okay.
And then Sasha had come on. Now we had a couple of guests before, but when you came on, since then it has been impossible for any guest to live up to the standard of the 2-hour appearance that you had last time.
Yeah, Rob texted me a couple weeks ago, and he goes, "Out of all our guests, who is your favorite?" And I said Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Right away. Right. So, but I know a lot has changed on both sides. So, I thought I texted Sasha because when Sasha came and joined you in the second half of the show, it got even better, and you seem to get even more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's almost like she kind of brings out the best in you too. I watched a video when I don't know when you posted it, when you put it up, that she's better than a girlfriend for you because like she's the best possible.
Well, you can make her do stuff. I mean, but last night was funny because she went to her apartment. Once in a while, she's like, I'm gonna sleep over at my place. She had a nice apartment, but when the kids are here, she's always sleeping here. Once in a while, she'd go over there. And I'll say, like when I have dad-daughter night with my daughter here, or father-son night, I like clear it out. And
he still texts me and calls me as soon as I get to my apartment. Spend every single day together.
Because what happens
look at this thing on my chest. What do you think about
that? Oh, no, I'll tell a story last night. So last night she goes over there, and I stay out here. I'm working, putting some stuff together for court or whatever. And, last week I went in because I grew up in Iowa before they invented sunscreen at the farm. And, I got these things and these cancerous, not the worst kind of cancer, but, you get them on your body.
Skin thingies on your
like the tags.
Because when I grew up, to prevent the sun from hurting you, we put on baby oil and iodine. Iodine. I'm baling hay or Rogan beans.
You gotta cook yourself.
and so I waited too long to go to the dermatologist. You get them frozen off is your best case scenario. And so sometimes they got to cut them off. And so I had a big thing on my side here, and it was they thought they cut it big enough at the dermatologist, but they couldn't get it all. So I had to go down to the John Wayne Cancer Center there in
so gross.
And they had to cut off a
so big, supportive, Sasha.
It's this big.
Chuck.
It's like that big.
Big.
It's like
big.
two.
And they had to go in deep.
Oh my God!
Underneath, and then they cut it. They do it together. And I've had, you don't want them on your face. I've had a couple where they had to really, and so I came back, and that was last week, and I noticed it was sensitive. Of course, anytime they cut, it's good. But then it started swelling up, and it got very sensitive. And the kids were out here throwing the football. We're out here shooting baskets, and I also sleep between them. My kids are not small, and they got their own rooms. And one day they'll use them, and so I was doing this, and my seatbelt goes here, so I didn't know what was caused. I knew it was infected.
You're doing it now.
I knew it was infected.
Pop again.
But and then so I called. I was going to go back. You always come back in to get stuff checked out. And so last night, of course, I showed Sasha. I showed
last night,
everybody.
He's like, something's wet on my side.
Yeah. And after I got up, and my shirt was soaked
with blood.
And I thought I'd spilled water, and it soaked. And then I looked, my hand was bloody, and I was like, oh hell yeah! So I go to the bathroom, and I pull it up. My shirt was soaked, and their blood and whatever, it popped. Oh. Which is the best news. And it's coming out. So I made a video for Sasha.
No, don't.
Yeah, I made a video and sent it to her about midnight. Because then it is good if something pops, and then I got it squeezed to get the whole that's out of there, and because that's good. Then last night I had a really good night's sleep. I bandaged.
Wait, what are your kids saying?
Well, they just had gone to their moms, and you'll be back. I made a video to show when they get back. My kids love that kind of stuff. Oh. They love giving me shots. They love, they shave. They love it when I let them shave my back because then they can cut me.
Whoa, wait. So it's like a family get together to shave your back, Tom?
Well, I my shoulders or whatever they do, any kind of torturing me with. They don't do it very often, but they do love shaving. I'm letting my son when he turns 8. I know it sounds like whatever, but anything.
But here's the thing. So he sends it to me. I'm obviously watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and I call him afterwards, and I'm like, should I go back over there?
No,
is he going to die in the middle of the night?
I'm absolutely fine. It was even better.
Go. So
well, Tom, do you miss her when she leaves? Like,
well, she took the dog with her last night, which is good because I did say before she left, that dogs love wounds.
You're not answering his question.
And I didn't even realize it was going to pop open because that dog's over here sniffing. No, I mean, there's some, she needs to leave to go to her apartment once in a while, because then she's better when she's here.
Yeah.
She needs to recharge herself.
I'm okay with her leaving. There's sometimes when she leaves like 2 or 3 nights in a row, then it becomes I miss her. And but we have a good rhythm. It's very organic.
He likes to be left alone. For all those women out there that are going to be his next whatever, leave him alone.
My next nothing.
Because if you leave him alone, he's like a cat. He'll come to you. I think most men are like that. But he loves, if you can tell him everything you need to say in one sentence and then leave him alone.
Well, no, but also it's good for you to get over there to your apartment. You have that roommate. Yeah. And you really fixed up your room. The kids were anxious to see it. Yeah. And, you had that really awful apartment. Yeah. And which is, I wouldn't live there. She had a really dangerous apartment in Koreatown. And when we went down there to move her, I mean, it was scary. Like, I don't know how her father would let her live there for real. Like, it was frightening.
So you helped her move?
Oh, yeah. My kids and I went down there to move her.
There are no boundaries, right?
And we took our wagons. We got wagons here. And the reason she started staying here is because her roommate wouldn't let her use the parking spot. And she was here late at night. One day she was tired and said, "Hey, can I sleep on the couch?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." And then my son wakes up first every morning, then my daughter, and then he came running in. It's like, "Guys, come here. Sasha's on the couch." And she's sleeping. And so they ran out there, and they're just staring down at, like, they just couldn't believe seeing someone sleeping on the couch.
With my foot hanging off the couch.
And you slept on log. That's back before you had rules. Before I had to say, "Listen,
Sasha, when the kids are up,
here. The kids are up. Yeah, whatever time they're up, you got to get up. You got to, especially when you start sleeping in my daughter's bedroom. Like, it's inside.
I don't have a room here. I sleep in a all pink princess bedroom. Yeah, on a Murphy
which
bed.
Is very nice, to be honest. That should make you feel very good. So, and if kids don't sleep in their rooms, they're welcome to sleep, and we can make a arrangement. By the way, the couch is very comfortable.
It is very comfortable.
I fall asleep on it many times.
Rob looked like he had a question there for a second.
Go ahead, Rob.
No. You go. I have so many questions. That's just one.
It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. I think one night we were staying up late. We haven't had one of these in a while, but a heart to heart. And meeting of the minds, if you will, 2 souls, one young, one old. And I was telling him that I have this thing that I do with men and it's part of my stand-up where I meet a guy at work, we hang out once, and then I sleep over for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Good, the joke still works. Yeah. But it's the truth.
Everything's a joke.
Shut up. And then, so I don't date men, I just like move in. And I was like, I got to break that pattern. I've been single for 9 months, like celibate for 6 months. I can't remember. But I was like, I got to break this pattern. I can't do it anymore. And Tom's like, whatever, And then I look up at him and I'm like, I'm living here. Like, I'm not in a relationship with Tom. I'm not in a relationship with Tom Arnold.
Well, it's a relationship.
It is a relationship.
Yeah.
But I did it again. I did my pattern again. Like, I'm not drinking right now. I've been sober for a year. And here's my addiction.
It's addiction. I mean, you get paid to be here. So
right. Yeah, but you could tell, like, look, so to speak to that, when you guys were on last, we spoke, Lori and I spoke afterwards, and it's like, no, I don't think anything is going on there. I do think there's a mutual admiration, without a doubt. I think Tom adores her and vice versa, but I don't think anything's going on. And then a week later, she sends me this, which I'm sure the Page 6 article that came out, and
that's how long ago it was.
Yeah, and I didn't believe it when it happened, but then Tom, you sent that right to her parents. I heard.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, I certainly could read. It's funny because the writer is fun. She's funny. I know her, and she calls up and she's like, she wanted me to go because my divorce was finally finalized, and she's like, and I had to go with Sasha. We went to court together. I was representing myself. She was my assistant. I had to go to court to get it. I had to file for divorce, and it's not like the other party did not act like she wanted to be divorced and had moved out, and but I had to fight to get it finalized, and so we went down there together. And then so the page 6 woman calls me. It's like, you got to do a statement, and then my old publicist said, you got to do a statement. What do I say? It's going to be great. Now we're going to work together to take care of the kids. I go, I did that like 2 years ago when she moved out. I gave this gracious statement, and then she has been so batshit crazy and showed up my house and beating on the windows and, all the cops on me. I cannot say those words. She goes, can you say anything good? I go, I can't. I love my kids. I love being their dad. I love having them. I cannot say, what can I say about someone who just the day before court tried to lure me out of the house to serve me some crazy thing in front of the kids. Had a guy in the bush. I said, I posted that though. I said, I cannot think of anything. I've said it before. It would sound so, and she goes, what else you got going on in your life? I go, well, this gal that was my assistant, we have a podcast and she's really good with the kids. She lives here. And she goes, I go, what do we mean? Are you guys, I go, no, she's 30 years younger. Wait, no, wait. But, I go, it's funny you ask that because, I said Steve Tish and this big producer friend of mine and the rabbi had called. I told the whole story where people call and ask me if we're having sex. And I say, well, no, not. They go, I didn't think so. She's really young and cute. I go, whoa. We could be. What are you talking about?
So you don't fully deny it. I mean, look, I don't blame you for not fully denying it because it does make you look badass.
Well, no, I mean, I can easily. I'm married.
Sasha.
I married a 21-year-old once. I can do it. It's humanly possible.
How old were you?
That was a huge mistake.
How old were you?
I was 35, but 21. You're still 21. You can be 70, and she still. It's too young, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
I just tell you that. 21-year-old people should not get married no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
And but my friends are all like, and my one friend's like, can I have her over for lunch? I'm like, no, you can't. You're 70. Are you kidding me? No.
Have her over for lunch.
Can I have her for lunch? No.
Can I invite her to my private island?
But I'm just saying, they're like, I didn't think that was happening. I go, but it could. We walk into the hallway there and something could happen. I'm just saying it hasn't. But my friends were so terrible to me. Like, yeah, I didn't think that was. I didn't think she'd. I go, what do you mean?
You left
and
it
so the
completely.
article became about that. It became a funny thing.
It was so open ended. It was like, yeah, we're fucking. Like
No.
it basically.
I just said we are at the exact second. It's not out of the question.
You're not fucking.
It's not humanly possible. That's
second.
right. That's right. I'm not.
We could bump into each other in the hallway.
There's not a lot of quality people that go, I'm looking for a guy that has 2 children.
Wait, so yeah, I did read that quote. That's true. He did. So there was a page 6 article for those who are just listening to the audio. There was a page 6 article that basically said that Tom was getting saucy with his new assistant, and just even the headline was funny, especially because. We, in addition to the 2 hours that we spent with them, we also spent time before and after talking to them. And I didn't think anything like that was happening. So Tom did say, as one of the quotes, it was, we bump each other in the hallway. It was something like that he said.
I mean, things happen.
He's gained weight, so he bumps into everything.
Yeah. It is that page 6 article is the best page 6 article that I've ever been involved with. I've been involved. I've been at page 6 for 35 years. So many other
articles were written and a radio show.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously not a celebrity, and they went onto my Instagram and they posted this picture,
which
I put as a joke.
Yeah, that's cool.
Look, I got bangs. And
that's cool.
My dad.
But you're lucky.
So
you should be honored that you're page 6. It's a big honor, isn't it, guys?
As the nanny that you may or may not be fucking.
Right? You should be honored.
Oh my God, my career has started.
You're a lucky lady over there.
You're skyrocketing now, Sasha.
If you were in my shoes.
She'll tell you. It was funny. It was hilarious.
Would you be happy, Lori?
It was funny.
I love that Tom thinks you should be happy.
You should be an honor.
You've made page 6.
Well, let me tell you something. It was a good, and they gave a link to our podcast and to our music video. And, you could have been, listen, I've been at Page Six for just disgusting things. I'm going to tell you.
What's the worst thing? What's the worst thing you could think of, Tom?
My parents were so sad. They're like, if this is the life choice you
you're crazy.
Mother and I will support you.
Yeah, no, that's
they were so upset. You know how much damage control I had to do? Yes, they were.
Right. Yeah,
but wait,
Tom, you didn't talk
damage control.
But Tom, you sent the article to her parents when it came out.
Well, she told me. She told me to ask her mom what size of ring you were as a joke.
That was a private joke. I didn't know you were going to put me in Page 6.
Oh, yeah, you're lucky. What else is there to do?
So, all right. So, are either one of you seeing anyone right now?
Not that I know.
How in the fuck would that happen?
I don't.
It's the next door neighbor. There's a really hot next door neighbor guy, and we see him because Sasha's always out there talking to him, and he's married, happily married.
Like I'm plowing
but
the
field. He is so good looking. Like roses got delivered here. And immediately I saw him. I go, "Oh, those aren't for this house." And I took him over there because I assumed he got them for his wife. And he brought him back. And he just has the best body, the best. He's a beautiful man. He's Israeli. He's just so beautiful. And he brought him back and handed him to Sasha. What did he say?
He said for you to give him to me.
Yeah, he said, "These must be for you," though. He's like he does everything. Because I took him over there and said, "Yeah, these obviously nobody's giving them over here," but he brought it back and said, "These have to be for Sasha." I was like, "Oh,
but
my God."
To answer your question, Rob, I do help him with his social media and stuff, and like I'm all in and everything. So I'll see women being like, "What's up, Tom Arnold?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it can
how
happen.
about this one? This one. I mean, yeah. So
right,
to have a relationship,
women galore.
And I'm not, whatever.
He keeps on saying he's going to hook me up with some Jewish friend, which I would love.
Well, they come here my security guys, they come in the house and because they like her because she looks Jewish, but she's not Jewish. they like that.
That's me. I have that same trait. That's a gift I have too.
Yeah, that's very familiar. Let me tell you something.
Oh, you're not Jewish, Rob?
Nope. I just have the nose.
Yeah. I am Jewish, but they had to fix my nose because it was broken, not because I was ashamed of it. That's for sure. Although my grandpa. Although
don't bring this.
This is my. I had to get my uncle's book for my kids so that they didn't forget.
Oh my God!
That's my uncle's book.
Tom just held up a book called The Secret Life of Adolf Hitler.
What's that?
Just to describe what you just did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to do?
No, I said
my uncle made this. It's a seminal documentary, and that's the book about it.
Tom is holding up The Secret Life of Adolf Hitler. It's a book written
based on by Bill Cooper, my uncle. But he made the seminal documentary at WPIX in New York that was an independent television station. So he ran it. And in 1958, it's a documentary that you could see that was groundbreaking. My Uncle my Uncle Bill, and award-winning, and he interviewed Hitler's sister, and you'll see footage from my uncle's documentary in many documentaries. But when you're a kid,
it's a little heavy.
It's not a fun movie,
right?
And but
explains a lot, Tom.
Yeah, but
wait, does it touch on Hitler having one testicle?
Yeah. He was a shit eater. Now that isn't in
there.
Whoa.
Wait, what? Shit eater?
Yeah, he was a weird. But
was that a sex thing?
He did go to Europe and get a lot of footage. And in 1958, it seems that the war was over in 45.
You're not going to explain.
But there's not a lot that was. Everything didn't come out at once. And my grandpa DB helped liberate Dachau, which is a concentration camp, obviously, and it was shocking. And everything didn't come out to America. It took a while to get the full story and how depraved and everything. And so even in 58, we were still learning things. And so if you watch the film, and when I was younger, so we used to see when you're younger, and older Jews will know this. They used to, at Jewish camps, they would take the kids and then they'd have a train pull up, a train track, and load the kids into the train. It's just say that's what it was like, just so nobody forgets. And pack kids into a train like they're on the way to Auschwitz or whatever. Now, I chose not to do that with my kids, but I did say, hey.
It's a smart move, I think, to not do that. It's a wise choice.
I'll show them a clip of it, just the funny parts. Although Hitler's sister sounds and looks exactly like Trump's sister, the judge. And when she talks about their childhood, it's like spot on about, the kind of the personality and, what he couldn't sit still. He wanted to, and their father wanted him to go in politics. And so there are similarities there, but, I'm not going to, I'm going to gently put my 5 and 7 year old, they have an awareness.
That's great.
But that was there's some things that about.
I can't believe you're not seeing anyone. So when you guys go like to events, Sasha, you see, I'm sure the women probably flirt with him and throw themselves at Tom when they see him. No
events.
Or anything like.
99 cent store.
Yeah, 99 cent store. He's very big there.
Yeah.
Throw himself. Yeah. I mean, he's always recognized wherever he goes. That's for sure.
Very
but
famous.
Women. Yeah.
Very famous.
Yeah. I've seen some women be like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Like if I lived in Koreatown and I looked outside and I saw Tom Arnold moving someone out of an apartment,
Yeah.
I would go and watch this. I'd want to be a part of this.
Oh,
that's good.
I'm sure he got a lot of
that.
peeps through the window for sure.
Yeah. No, it is and we did it at night.
Yeah. It's mostly blonde women, actually, that find them attractive. Not a lot of Asian women.
Really?
Well, I tell you, whenever you call into a Verizon or something or to get something changed.
Technical support.
The people,
He's big on there, too.
They hear my voice.
You sound just like you do in the movie.
Yeah. And it may be a woman like that or maybe a guy like that's you can't tell.
Yeah, it's Shirley from Kentucky, and I just have to say I'm a huge fan.
Sasha will always come in my house and say, I got a big fan here.
I do.
Of course, I love it, though. I love it. And those are people that really could be life-changing because they can go, here's something else I can do for you.
Yeah.
You'll like unlimited data?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Spectrum ladies love Tom. So
they also are so helpful. You appreciate what they do. And I sold TimeLife books for a while, and that's the worst job ever. But at least these guys,
So you used to sell you had to sell the books like the.
Yeah, I did. It's back when I was doing a lot of blow. Being a comedian back in like '83 in Minneapolis. When I first moved to Minneapolis to be a comic, and the main cocaine dealer and a guy that my oldest friend David Carr, who was a brilliant writer at the New York Times, and he wrote a book called Night of the Gun, but he's one of the most respected journalists ever, and we grew up together in the business, and our mutual drug dealer was a guy named Kenny Qualm, and so wherever he went, David was writing for the local, the Twin Cities Reader, and I was a comedian, and then Kenny Qualm decided he was going to sell TimeLife books, so everybody went to sell TimeLife books because brought some drugs to TimeLife books. And,
Would you sell the drugs with the books at the same time?
Well, no, we would sell books sitting by him so we could get more cocaine.
Oh.
We had the illusion that would make us better at selling TimeLife books.
Yeah, at least you're educating people while you get high. Even
the people that ran the rooms were buying drugs for Kenny Paul.
Oh, I love that.
Selling TimeLife books, but it didn't. But it's sales, and then we would go to the stand-up clubs and.
So was it Wait, did you go door to door to sell it, or was it like on the phone?
We had the call sheets, like Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, and
You can hear Tom doing rails in between. Hey, let me introduce you to some books.
So it would start. Everybody ended up owing Kenny Qualm money.
Money, of course.
Totally made it up. And even the boss got into debt so much with him, and so everybody kept working harder and harder to try to get even with Kenny Qualm, what they owed him. Uh-huh. And then the head boss, the regional manager, would come in, and then he owed him money. And but we sold a lot of TimeLife books just because it kept. We had to make our quota to pay Kenny Qualm.
I love that you referenced Glenn Ross, because now that's the picture that I have.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
He turned his life around. David found him before his book came out. I think in 2013 or 2014, before David passed away. Which he passed away at the New York Times, and he just interviewed who's the guy that had to go to Russia because he got all the information. He released all the NSA information.
Snowden.
Yes, Edward Snowden. He just interviewed him at the New York Times on a link, and then he passed away. He had several kinds of cancer. He'd just been here to visit Jack's and took a picture with my son, and I've been at David's wedding. Really great guy, and he worked. His last thing was interviewing Snowden at the New York Times, and he just collapsed. That's the way he would have wanted.
Oh my God. Okay, when Tom Arnold dies, which will be a very sad day, you're going to look back at history books, and it's going to be like the movie Forrest Gump, where he's going to be in every single huge political.
Speaking of Forrest Gump,
Playboy Mansion, shaking hands with the president, and it's always Tom's fucking face. Like, he has been involved in so many things that people don't even know about. I mean, like this beautiful gem right here.
Yeah. Well, but nobody will care. But the thing is, because then you'll be dead. How will I even know? But speaking of Forrest Gump, Steve Tish produced Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Steve's the guy that called after reading the Page 6 article and said, Are you and Sasha fucking? If not, could she come over for lunch?
Why didn't you let me come over for lunch?
Sasha, you need to be in the Tish family.
Yeah, they're very nice people.
Sasha Tish.
They are. And matter of fact, Zach Tish is my godson. Steve's son. He's very hot.
So wait a minute. So you stop.
Right? He's way too young for you. He's 20. No, he just got. He and his sister graduated from high school.
In
2018. So he could probably. He's extremely handsome and tall.
Wait, did he come over here? That's not the young
here.
Man that came.
The other house. What's that?
Remember the mom and the young man that bought some art.
No, they're Rustin.
Oh, okay.
Rochelle and
he has like a
very handsome. Jim and those.
No,
guys.
but I like the sounds of this Tish person.
Me too.
Well, they're solid gold. All of them. John runs the Lowe's Hotel chain. They do many things, and they're very philanthropic. And I knew the old man. He was a great guy. We used to go to Super Bowls together. And, they started. There's two brothers. I'll tell you briefly.
Briefly.
And they started with nothing. These two brothers, and Bob and Larry, and they started with nothing, and then they ended up, these billionaires, but they ended up owning so many things. And then Bob's dream was to own the New York Giants, just because he wanted to shake the players' hands, and he was a lifelong fan of the New York Giants. And the Mara family, Wellington Mara, owned the Giants from conception. Mm-hmm. And in the late 80s, they had a little money issue because that's the only thing they owned. They made all their money from the New York Giants. And Bob Tish said, hey, I'll buy half of it for it was what seems like a little, not much money now. I don't know if it was $25 million or $50 million, but they needed some cash, this family. By the way, the Mara family, Rooney Mara is the granddaughter, and Kate Mara, they're actresses. And so he said, oh, God, you'll save our family. We need that cash. You'll own half. And Bob Tish, a great guy. He says, I just want to shake the players' hands, whatever. So he bought half. And, of course, that half is worth $2.5 billion now because everything he does is church gold. So he and I would go to Super Bowls. My Steve Tish, who was my best man at my wedding and stuff, he wasn't quite as interested in football because he did the movies and everything. And I had so much fun with. And Bob Tish would try to fix me up with women like Georgia Frontieri, who owned the Rams, whose husband drowned in their swimming pool under suspicious circumstances. Anyway,
you probably don't want to be in that.
Widow.
Yeah,
that's true. But he was like, "Hey, Tom, she likes cowboys." He thought it was a cowboy. Right. They were a nice family, and we went to the Super Bowl where Ray Lewis stabbed the one guy, murdered him. Anyway, no.
What was that, like 01, 02?
Yeah, Atlanta, right? 02? Was that?
I think so. Yeah.
It was chilly. And yeah.
So he just calls you and says, if you're not fucking Sasha, send her over, like you're an Arabian prince.
Like, hey, what are you guys doing? He goes, yeah, I'd like to invite her over for lunch. You go, no. What about me? And plus, I hadn't talked to him in a while.
I bet you it would be a good lunch too. I feel like it would like be lobster.
Yeah, but I had a lot of people like, hey, just think about you and the kids. Think about you and the kids. How are you? How are they? Good.
I'm old.
What's this Sasha about?
Right? You don't still get phone calls inquiring of my whereabouts.
Well, I do, but maybe if our podcast is popular as the whole.
We get more.
Yeah, the whole, for real.
Send like an email, like love letters. Yeah. For me.
Well, here, so first of all, Off Topic is the name of the podcast, which makes total sense. At the time that we had you on, you had called it Two in the Bush.
Yeah, that was a really terrible name.
But Off Topic does make a little more sense, as because it's look for those of you who are watching and listening right now and laughing at all of this. This is exactly what the podcast is. I mean, they do have. I've seen you guys have had guests on. You have Sam Levine, which we had Sam Levine on like 10 years ago. He was so nice. When we first started, we did this show in like my office where I used to work. I waited for everybody to leave and we would set up microphones. It was like a print shop. Yeah. And Sam Levine was nice enough to come up and do the show at the time. And I've seen that you've had him on, you had Dr. Drew on, like, I see that you guys are starting to have guests too. So like, the show is really, really good. Like people who don't check it out really need to, if you haven't yet, because it's this. You guys, the dynamic that you have is fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
thank you, Rob.
You're very kind.
It's the truth.
Well, we like your show. That's why we're very excited.
How did you guys ever find each other?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I was looking for, somebody recommended you, somebody I liked. You had a good recommendation. Tori,
I was working at a baby store in Larchmont, and a woman walked in with the most adorable dog. We started talking. She said she was an estate manager, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to get out of this baby store. Right. I was like, how'd you get into it? She said I was a personal assistant first, and then she was like, oh my gosh, Tom Arnold's looking for a personal assistant. And I was like, no way. Like I just was like, yeah, okay. She's like, send me everything. I'm serious. And she was so adamant. The nicest person I'd ever met. Sent her my stuff, and then about a week or 2 weeks later, her sister, he knows the whole family, who was then his assistant, emailed me for an interview, and I showed up in Westwood, and I mean, 9 Months is one of my all-time favorite movies in my entire life. Like I love that movie so much, and I forced Tom to tell me tidbits all the time about it. But I show up to Westwood apartment. And it was just like really intimidating and really scary. And there was like nannies and assistants there. And they're like, he'll be out in a minute. And someone had opened the door to his bedroom. So I just see a crack into his bedroom. And I just see Tom Arnold on his bed, eyes closed, mouth open. And he looked dead. And this is where I need to be. Like I was so excited. I was like, this is what I wanted, and this is what I drank.
So I gotta imagine. I bet you it was a easy interview because I bet you Tom did most of the talking. Like most of the time on an interview, the pressure's on you. But I bet you Tom did most of the talking.
He did, but he's so intense sometimes. Like even now, when he's intense, it's intimidating. So he was extremely intimidating. He's a big guy, so that's intimidating. But I said one line and one line only, which really got him happy, which was, I'll do the dirty work. And I think he really appreciated that, as I've heard him say a couple of times. And after that, it kind of eased in. I think he was a little weary of that I was like a comedian / actor or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty fluid. But we didn't really like fall in love for a couple months. But before that, it was like, I think we were good. But that's how we came to be.
Mm.
You were.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Okay, I'll talk. So, one,
I'm just going to go make a sandwich. I'll come back.
Well, since I have my kids, I'm very protective. I don't have people around them. I don't let them get in people's cars. The nanny that was in there had been with them since birth. The young lady who was serving as my assistant, it kind of is. There are three sisters. I want to say first, they're from Chicago, the Noyes sisters. There's Meg, who's been around my kids sometimes. She's in the fashion business now, and when Meg Noyes, when she'd come over and look out for the kids, like she'd be by the pool in her bikini, and all of us would be like, okay. And then there's Amy, who was working at that time. And Amy is also in the art business. And Amy's a little more, and Amy's great. But that too was with us, had been with me at that time. And she got me moved out of the house. And she's great. And then there's Tori, who discovered Sasha. Tori had been my assistant for a long time. And Tori had moved on to Shonda
estate manager.
Yeah, but yes, she was the estate manager for Shonda Rhimes. She'd moved up in the world. Mm-hmm. And these three sisters are such different personalities, but they're from a wonderful family. And I know their mom and dad. And I've always looked out for them since they came out to LA 15 years ago. And they're characters, but it's a solid gold reference, okay? So I just also got out of the hospital after being on life support. And so we moved into a place close to UCLA, and that Airbnb, I had to find a place with no notice. It had to be, safe and close. So I took Tori's recommendation, and I was looking through stuff. I had to find somebody quick because I needed a little help for, and I took that. I looked at the Sasha's thing, and because it came from Tori, it did come from Amy, and sisters are very competitive. I looked at it before I went in the hospital, suddenly, and I remember that's one of the things I remembered. And when we got in there, I said, "We got to do that." Where's that resume? Do you remember where that was? Do you remember where that was? And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "Let me see it right now." I look at it, actress, comedian, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I want to interview her tomorrow. Well, she's got a show. I go, okay, give me the phone. I got to get her over here, interview her. And then she said, I have a road show or I have some bullshit. I said, when are you available to work? Very quick. And then she did say, you know what? I'll do because I need somebody to work.
Right
to
away.
Do these things. And she said, I'll do the crap jobs. And she was serious. I'll run the Target. I'll do this. I'll do that. And that was, but I didn't see her as, and there's also this feeling as I got to know Sasha, competitive, because having women, it's always been, I've always felt this, whether it be the nanny versus the housekeeper versus the assistant or whatever. There's because I don't have a big bunch of people
versus
working,
the wife.
But there's always been, but there's always been a competition, and I've always felt like because I like people to just do their stuff and to keep me out of it.
Right, of course.
I always felt like
you've worked hard to have that to be able to do that.
Yeah, and so I sensed as Sasha, as I realized how talented Sasha was and what skills she had. That it was going to be, it was just going to have to be Sasha, and as people that were not amenable to that, we're going to have to go, and and so and the kids, as they became closer to her, and I saw what her skills were with the kids. We're not, like a nanny, and the kids are big and they're athletic, and you have to have energy for these kids. You couldn't, I wasn't looking for a nanny. I was looking for a sports person. I was looking for something to keep up with him, and someone I could trust and also help me. And so a hybrid, a person. Hybrid. Had that.
Well, on our past show, your daughter was laying on Sasha's feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Well, I'll give you an example of Sasha. The other night, before they went to their moms, like about 2 hours before they go to their moms.
Oh, I'm going to get arrested.
It's 48 hours how long to go to their moms. Okay? So when they've been 5 days here, and the last 40 days, I'm very aware of the time when they have to go, and the kids are too. They're like, hey, we didn't do this. We didn't do this. We didn't do this. We have to throw the football. We have to play horse. Daddy, you have to play with me in my playroom. We have to do everything that was promised or whatever. And we kind of all get in a flurry of doing stuff together.
We play a lot the last hour.
Yeah, the last hour, 2 hours, because I don't want to waste a minute. And we're playing dodgeball, and they were waiting on Sasha to play, but we did it anyway. And I know that, because she parks out there and she starts, calling, and I'm looking at my watch, and we got a pretty good system where we just get out the door, she out of the curb, and I'm aware of the time.
When his wife ex-wife comes to pick the kids up.
Yeah. And I'm kind of aware of it. I say, guys, we got about 20 minutes. Let's do this. And we're playing. They go to the last second, and they, and then the door, she'll ring the bell, or she'll, you can hear because of the security system, and, or, start honking, whatever. And so we were playing dodgeball, and then, so I go in to grab his bag of school stuff, and then go, and I don't know what happened, but I was in the middle of the house, and I turned, and Sasha's coming in behind me, and she's turned around to go, to run back at my son who's out here. What did you describe it?
I come into the house, and all of a sudden I feel like I've been punched in the back of the head. His son had grabbed a deflated football and threw it as hard as he could into the back of my head. I saw red, and with my boss and the father of the child that I was going to attack right in front of me, pick up the ball, and I turn around and I just go to beat his ass if I can. I mean, obviously, I would modify it for a child, but I was have you ever been punched in the back of the head? Like, just so angry. And Tom just goes, stop, like Gandalf, just like, no.
Well, this was, is this Jack, like, Jack's a big kid. Like, one of the children is a big Jack's kid. Great.
He's bigger. He's a head taller than everybody. He's very beefy. He's very big. And what I said, stop. Not now. And any other time, when he hits me in the face or something, I get the ball and I throw it hard.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. But it was also an amazing throw because he was way back here at the door.
So proud.
And to hit her in the back of the head through the door,
That's my son.
The whole point is, during the last 20 seconds of them being in the house, we are not going to have a fucking issue.
But here's what I'm proud about. So they leave. I obviously do not attack his child. And Tom, you can't do that at the last minute. And I'm like, I completely understand. I know when it's go time, but I saw red and I was reacting to getting hit in the back of the head with that ball. And he goes, oh, I didn't know you were hit in the back of the head. He was like, so I give you a pass. I understand. We're meeting halfway. So it's like,
well, I know I understand it. Well, of course I'd want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But you just can't. And there's some stuff with kids you just can't.
Yeah.
Your reactions, that's a reflex. Of course you're gonna. But that's why I'm here to say stop.
Yeah.
Because you can't. It's something that you resolve by. Well, I resolved by throwing back at him.
Yeah.
But also you weren't in the game, so it's illegal. They did it, but you just can't because they're kids. You can't do it. And I stopped you the day before because you thought he was. You thought he was hurting the dog, and you jumped up as though he was hurting my daughter, which he sometimes says, you're like, God! I go, stop.
Did not scream like
you
that.
did. You
did
said, he's
like
Letty from Mice and Men. He's going to kill the dog. You also can't do that. He's bonding with the dog. And I grew up on a farm. I know how to.
I love good.
But he's not. You got to get.
I love a good play reference.
There's my daughter. She's a baby, and then there's the dog, and he's bonding.
Listen,
with,
I don't want to fight in front of our friends. Okay?
It's how we learn, But you're so good with. But I do let you work things out with them,
Yeah.
But those are just too small.
It's like you could do whatever you want except for that last hour.
Oh yeah, the last, especially last moments.
Yeah.
Because I always, first of all, I always think, what could I have done better? I always think that every time they leave or every time, and we sit and talk about stuff like, that was good, that was great, they're doing better, I'm doing better, and no matter what happens, it's on me because I'm the parent, I'm the father, and even if there's some crazy thing with their mom or whatever, it's really on me. And what can I do better? And I'll compliment Sasha, because our life's been 50 times better with her in it, and not just because she's a witness, but it really has been. And I watch the way they bond together too. And my son is a very tough, big kid, but he loves when you take time to put a Band-Aid on him. He loves the little intimate things. And, and my daughter is girly, but she's also tough. Mm-hmm. And whatever he does, she'll get up on top of something and do the same thing. And you just got to watch, they have a very interesting relationship. They're very close. And it's, you have to spend time with one and the other. And, and when they get tired, you got to go, okay, this is like being drunk for them. Mm-hmm. They aren't quite themselves. And,
and he and I have both dealt with a lot of drunks, so I understand that. But there needs to be cameras in this house because
there is cameras because they have to play back a lot. But they say that happened, you go, well, I'm going to show it on the camera.
Yeah. That's amazing to have that.
Yeah.
We're going to see Sasha on a nanny cam losing it sooner or later.
We had one really funny one where I was trying to protect Quinn, and I was like,
it was very
doing
funny.
Really good footwork.
Very funny.
Trying to protect her from Jax. I was like,
way tough. Very funny though.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, you mentioned I can't just let this go without talking about it. You mentioned being on life support around that time. Mm-hmm. What had happened to put you on life support?
Well, back February 8th, 2020, I was it was a very stressful time with the kids that I I was dealing with a lot of. I'd been to court with the custody stuff, and the kids and I just wasn't doing a lot of self-care, and the kids and I were driving to school from. We'd moved out of our house, so we were staying at a guest house even farther away from their school, and their mom something had happened with her father, and she said, I'm leaving town and I don't know when I'll be back, and you have to take the kids. And we weren't getting any information, and it just was, and all of a sudden she came back the day before and said, I'm going to court. I need to take the kids with me, and I was like, I need to know what is going on.
Yeah, right.
And I was not getting along with my attorneys or. And then I just had to do that. I put them in her car, and they've always been back and forth, and I was feeling I was by myself that guest house way out there in Deep Canyon, and I just usually could calm myself down before I go to sleep, and I was like, I don't think I should just go to sleep tonight. I think I should. I was having trouble breathing, and I was like. I think I should go down to UCLA. I go down. I have this famous heart camp, the biggest heart camp in America for kids with heart defects and heart disease. It's called Camp Del Corazon. So I know a lot of doctors, and so I thought I'll just go drive down there and see what's up, so I can tell something is up. And then I thought, well, maybe I should call an ambulance because this seems very serious. And I was supposed to go to the doctor the day before that, and I hadn't even gotten my flu shot, which is crazy. And so called the ambulance, and the people that were staying at their guest house, who were our real estate agent, very nice people, as we know, they sent the ambulance away first. They thought I was somebody called somebody about the dogs. They thought it was they didn't realize it happened, but eventually it got to me. And by then I couldn't even talk. I wasn't panicking, but because my wind was so, and so then by the time I got to the hospital, I started organ failure. And
oh my God.
Normally I would call ahead and say, give my pseudonym and say, I'm coming in, and they would be ready and be, but I didn't even do that. So really by the time I got there, they checked me in under Tom Arnold, and it didn't have any of my records. And they were confused. And so I was hooked up on life support. I had massive organ failure, everything stopped working. And it took a day or two to realize, to get the full facts. And then by that time, then all the, the pediatric cardiologists are, the best in the world realized, it's our guy. And then they got me moved around, then got other people to see me. And so I came to, and I had a virus. It had, COVID wasn't even, it was February 8th, so people weren't even really.
It was just like on the cruise ships. It wasn't really here yet.
And they didn't think you'd get COVID and influenza B. And then I had another virus that in my heart, and just had the worst case scenario. And so I came to, and kind of come to, and you're like, I was hooked up to all these machines, and I recognized my friends who were on the board of the camp with me, and I'm like, what's this, and what's this? And they're like, this is an ECMO. That's the heart-lung machine. And I said, what do I have to do to get out of here and get my kids? And so, the doctors have been treating me were all gloom and doom. They're like, your life will never be the same. You're going to have to go from here to a rehabilitation place, and you'll never be able to run around with your kids. And then my friends are very funny, as these brilliant pediatric cardiologists are like, we're going to get you out of here because you're such a terrible patient. And, so they just said, here's the numbers each thing, because your heart's not pumping. That's the thing. It's lost its pump, and we have to get these, and your kidneys have to start working, and your lungs have to, so here's the numbers you have to hit on each of these machines. And so I just focused on that, and what I had to do to get out of there and walk out of there to go get my kids. And in 15 days, with all that shit that I had, I got off all the ventilator, I got off all the everything, and I walked out of there. You're supposed to have somebody pick you up, and I did. I didn't even do that. I was going to call an Uber, but then coincidentally, the woman that runs my heart cap happened to be downstairs. And so I am very, very lucky and very fortunate. I had somebody coming over to the apartment that you were at to do a nurse, one of those nurses coming over to check me out, walk me around. And I was winded, though. I'll say, I went to UCLA and went over to use the gym a few times. I was nervous to get on the elliptical and stuff, because you're like, what's this going to be like? But
you think about it all the time, I'm sure.
And then, but I wasn't working out before I went in. I felt better than I had before I went in, because I was just so harried with this stuff and that stuff and court and this stuff. And I could tell something was, because we'd gone to this big thing in court right before that. And I said to the judge, I have to get this 50-50 custody right now. And here's the schedule it has to be on. School starts, I have to have this schedule exactly like this. It has to start right now, because school start right now, and I'm nothing less. And it has to start right now, or I'm walking out of here. This is the deal, because I said I'm having trouble breathing, and this was January 10th. And the judge said, okay, you sign this, made her sign it. The judge said, I'm going to make her feel like she won today. Somehow. And the way she did it was by the judge just started trashing me. And she's so funny. She's like, look at him. You believe it. What is he? Look at him. I can't believe it. Can you believe you married him? I can. Well, you know, it's kind of this, I don't know what you call it, but she goes, just sign this. Just sign it. Be done with it. Yeah, this guy, look, you do better. No, you'll be. Okay. Anyway, she signed it, and then, you know, I was just so.
I am in awe of how you survived all that right after the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know with like millennials and TikTok and everything, everyone's about manifestation and you know, your vibes and all that stuff. But when he told me the hospital story and how he talked to the doctors and the doctor said, these need to be your numbers. This is what your organs need to look like. He put a picture of it on the wall and stared at it every day.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he made the impossible happen. So for me, like that made me a believer.
Yeah. Well, I also, you know, because the gala for the heart cap, the Campo del Corso gala was April 4th, I believe. And so I went in the 8th of February, got out 50 days later. But they came down. I had to come down and make videos when I was in the hospital. You saw some of those videos.
Good.
Because I still hosted it. I still.
In a hospital gown?
Yeah, you saw that. I was fucked up. Listen, I made videos in the hospital when I was, and I had my buddies came and filmed me. My brothers and sisters came out.
Lori, can you move your mic up higher because you keep rubbing against it? That's okay.
Just ruining the show.
It's okay.
You know,
there you go.
I mean, you know, and I did feel like, you know, so many people that showed up that love me, you know, and you're like, yeah, I just had a big fight with my brother right before that, and he's out there, and people. I looked up once, I was like, oh no, it's my two sisters who are so freaking crazy. And my brother flew them out on purpose and put them at the W, and they got so hammered every night that they were so great. Over there, my one sister's the one that they're doing the Queen of Meth docuseries for Discovery Channel, and then and then the younger sister, who's crazier than her, who's been a school teacher for 30 years. Those two, my brother intentionally, to be an ass, he's like, they're in charge of you. And but it was very sweet. They went out one night and got into a fist fight with what show? This guy from
Vanderpump Rules.
Oh yeah,
big fan. So they took him to the restaurant, and then somehow they got in a fight.
Yeah, I gave him my buddy. I said,
to Sir.
Was his name Tom? Yeah.
Well, there's Vanderpump and then Sir's. They went to Sir?
I think they did.
Okay.
Is that where they went? Do you remember?
I thought it was Vanderpump, or I thought it was Pump.
Maybe it was Pump.
Okay.
But there was a guy named Tom, I think. And he went and take a picture with him. And my sisters are so fucking crazy. And they got into a fight. They got all the pictures. And then the security guy, then he did take a picture afterwards. It's just, you know, because they're from Iowa. They're such rednecks. But, you know, but, you know, it was really sweet of them. And, you know, my sister did want to stay. My one sister, Lori, the one, the Queen of Meth, she'd already had the paperwork from her factory job saying that she could stay to be my caretaker for perpetuity. And I said, I really appreciate that. You just don't have the skills, and I don't be a caretaker. I really don't. I appreciate it. But, you know.
Oh, I wish that would have happened.
Yeah. But
then you wouldn't be here, Sasha, and all the glory that you have now.
But
and then you hear all the jokes that my family and my manager had for my funeral, like for real. They really had it, because then people thought I was going to die, and they really had their A material. They really were sad that they couldn't use it.
And they were sharing it with you while you were in the hospital.
Yeah. When I came to, their faces were ashen because they thought I was dead. And so they were, you know, very disappointed.
It's a good thing that you even called, because, you know, most guys, they refuse, like, you know, to even acknowledge when they have any kind of health scare, they don't feel good or they can't breathe. The fact that you would have decided not to go back to sleep probably changed your life. That changed your life. You might not have made it.
Well, even the fact Tom was going to originally drive there. He was going to drive to UCLA with all his organs failing.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, that night, because at I went out to McDonald's and I got 2 double quarter pounders of cheese, and went back to my car. The heater was on full blast. I never had the heater on, so I was obviously sick. And I brought the McDonald's in. And I couldn't really eat it, which is something's up to. Yeah. And I do. I could tell that getting to sleep would be. I do these breathing things to get to sleep, and you meditate a little bit, and just do this whole thing to just will myself to sleep. And I thought, if I go to sleep, for some reason, I might not wake up, or it might be, and part of it is, you have these kids there, and they were gone, but I just thought, well, I got to be a little more responsible here. I have a bad feeling about this. And,
that is terrifying.
Yeah. But, and the funny thing is, so I got out of the hospital and getting ready to get out. The mom, of course, she won't let me FaceTime the kids. I wouldn't FaceTime them until I looked right, and my brother was in touch with them, and of course, I thought I looked right when I was in the hospital.
You looked kind of good, actually.
I lost a lot of weight.
Really skinny.
Fast. I lost a lot of weight fast. And so, and they were down there, and their grandpa it turns out he'd had a stroke early, like the 29th of January, and he was just out. He was gone.
The kid's mother's father.
Yeah. So that, unbeknownst to all of us, he'd always been gone. And so, but they went down there to see whatever, had some kind of thing with, what do you call that? She sells
crystals.
Crystals, yeah. They put them on him or something. They're suing the hospital.
Okay.
But
now we're getting.
So I get out, and then she says to the lawyer, I don't know if he's safe to be around children, as I said. So we send over the stuff, and so I go over to her place, and she lives in an apartment building. So I go up there in the lobby. I come in there to get the kids, and I have Peely and Rosa drive me over there, and
housekeeper and the nanny.
Yeah, who've been with me forever. And you want to look strong at your kids. You don't want to scare them. And I felt pretty strong. I walked a little in there, and I don't usually go in the lobby of her building. I usually have to on the street and some kind of. But the judge had also told her, you cannot ban Tom from the lobby of your building. That's a public. Don't ever do that again. So I come in there, and the kids run, and they're so happy. They run usually anyway, and then we're loving on each other, and then they have a cart full of their stuff to bring to my house, and I start pulling that out, and all of a sudden I hear from the upstairs balcony, it's her leaning over. He is banned from my building. Get him out of the building. I'm just like, oh God. And so, it's like, so I kind of get my giddy up on it, pull that cart of their stuff, and it's a little. And for a second, I thought, now am I going to have to? What if I drop down, lay down to take a rest in this lobby? Like it was a little, and there's sort of as you go out the building, there's this ramp up to the street on Barrington. It's a very big, very fast street there. And for a second, I thought, oh, okay. So I didn't want the kids to see that I was having a little trouble pulling that big cart, but that business as usual, she couldn't take a moment.
The fact that you didn't laugh at all this.
Well, I mean, I was doing one step at a time.
Yeah.
And then Peely and Rosa got jumped out of the car to help. But that was a pretty good, because you don't want your kids to see you drop to take a knee. Well, take a knee.
Yeah,
but, nothing had changed with
nothing
on there.
Not
but
even,
very
not
grateful.
even death's door changed the ex-wife's frame of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. But I saw the videos that you posted after you got out of court, and you definitely look very relieved to have it all over with. Even one way or the other. But
it's always I've thought that. I mean, but it's always been successful in court. I mean,
I was successful in court in that when we came out of court, I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger on his bicycle, and I thought it was a sign from God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. Tom was like, it's not a big deal. His office is right around here. But I was like, as Tom went into the building because he forgot something, Arnold Schwarzenegger just zoomed by my face. And I was like, Oh my God! It was
it's a little.
No,
yeah,
that's definitely a sign. That doesn't just happen.
right.
Well, then
That's a good day.
we FaceTimed him, and he FaceTimed me. I was in my office, they're talking, and he said, let me say hi to the kids. And I go, I got to tell you something better. Because he was asking, because again, he asked me about something. Now I remember. He asked me, I go, God damn it. Is that why you called? And so
let me go to
like,
lunch.
no,
let me go to that lunch.
He goes,
okay?
I suppose he want to say hi to the kids, but then I go, you want to say hi to Sasha? He goes, love to. And I go, she's got a hell of a story for you. And so he went in her, and he was so nice. Was he so nice to you?
He was so nice.
He got all pepped up for, Sasha, but then he told that story. Of course, he believes everything he does is a sign from.
Right. But, one of the things I got so much feedback on that people loved is when you told the story that he would just have all of these like 21-year-old guys walking around in their underwear, all these bodybuilders just walking around all oiled up.
No, that's a fact. A lot of and some other old guys. Don't kid yourself. He'd have the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Germany there, the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Russia, the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not kidding. And like people, and there are a lot of older guys, and they have they're definitely oiled up, and there's no shame in his game. I have to tell you, there's nothing. This is a guy that used to go, and he writes about it. They used to go in the forest with a bunch of beer and lift rocks. I know, but there's
not that part. No, not that part.
Yeah, they go in the forest with and lift rocks. They get very wasted, and very naked, and lift rocks for like a week, and rub each other up, and it's the most homoerotic story. It's in his book. He writes about it, how great it was, the good old days. But no, he, they just they get oiled up, and that's just like I said. The first time I took Jax over there when he was this big, I had I came in, and you think you're walking out of something. We're like, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's just another day.
Right. Yeah, because I've seen his videos.
Hudson's old parties and, whoa, I'm sorry. No, it's just a Sunday at Arnold's house.
Yeah, he's got donkeys walking around. He's just feeding donkeys and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's a little horse. And Jackson, because my son took a carrot this big and stuffed it in the horse's mouth, and it bit. I have a great video of it. Barely by Jack's head. It's like, but that's how you learn the adult stuff.
I'm trying to find a picture of you in a Speedo, which I've seen a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah, but David LaChapelle took a picture of me.
Yeah, please do. Wait, Tom, can I ask you, are you friends with Michael Cohen, or do you guys hate each other?
Well,
I can't figure it out.
I mean, I don't hate him, of course. I mean, we've been through a lot of different things.
Tom, describe that relationship.
Well, I think we're friends. I mean, he's, not friend. I mean, Jesus. I think we've experienced a lot of things together. He doesn't. I think he's been very helpful to. My interest is always what's the best thing for my country, and I think I've been very helpful to him. He may not show his appreciation, but and I think there's probably a little more he could do. But I think we've been good for each other, and I'm 100% like to I just want to make my country better. I knew Trump was trash, and I definitely helped him more than he probably would admit. And depends on what tape of us talking you're listening to. Yeah. I've done him a lot of favors. Let me tell you that. Right. And but all my goal is always I'm unobjective.
And they get upset. Oh, he gets upset at Tom, and then he calls back like in 3 months and is like, "Hey, let me tell you everything that's going on."
Or but he blames me. It's hilarious how he blames me for everything, and then he'll be like, can you do me a favor with Don Jr.? Don Jr. did this. But then, he's like, has the same thing. Your hatred for Trump, keep me out of it. Like, you got me in, from the moment I met you, I've been nice to you. And then you got me in all this trouble. And then I have to say, wait a minute. You were Trump's lawyer for 10 years. I was a guy. So what's your responsibility in this? And by the way, why did you make sure that I had a phone so I could talk to you in prison? So you've been pushing this relationship along too. It's not just me after you, because I thought I would just keep talking to you like that. And again, you were Trump's lawyer. You were his muscle. That's you. So I go, that's a big so. You participated in this, man. All I did was, you get me so much trouble. You tweeted a tweet that got me thrown into the hole for 35 days. And,
why? What did you tweet that got him in the hole for 30?
Well, I tweeted as he was coming out. I tweeted about his book, being to take it, and because Trump doesn't like me. I said Michael Cohen's coming out. His book is going to take Trump down. He's a tell-all, whatever. And then Trump saw that and then had him turned around. And I said to Michael Cohen, if you could hear on the thing, you know what? That's a crime that they did that to you. That Bill Maher did that to you. And I said, I'm going to have Eric Swalwell. And Eric Swalwell promised me to do this. As soon as Trump's out of office, he's going to get the paper trail on that from the DOJ, and we'll get that to you. And then your next book, you could write about what a victim you were of that. And then and then we had the next phone call because he said, I can't talk to you for 20 days. It was the 1st June. I'm off probation, June 20th. And don't tweet about me. We can't talk. And then once I'm off probation, I want to talk to you because I need a favor. So then I talked to him on the 4th of July last summer. And we're talking about 4th of July, what we're doing with our kids' stuff. And at the end, it was like, do me a favor. I'm on the cover of the New York Post, having dinner with my family. They cheat, and then Don Jr. slapped me. So I can't tweet at Don Jr., but do me a favor, go after that asshole and whatever. And at the end, I say, I'm going to do that. He's blocked me, but I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff about Don Jr. And this is Saturday night. And then the next Tuesday, they pulled him off the street, Michael Cohen, and they took him and they said, we need to sign this document that none of your friends will tweet about.
Oh, please.
Remember that?
Oh.
Remember that though? And he ended up going back to jail again because he refused to sign it. And then they finally worked out some kind of a deal because the judge said that's illegal to take away his First Amendment rights.
Right.
And
his friends, no less. It's not even like, how can you control what your friends tweet?
Yeah, no, exactly.
There is one. You want to know something, Tom? There is one tweet that you and I read this out loud, and my wife and I were in tears laughing when I was trying to go to sleep. You said it was something about how Don Jr. caught Guilfoyle's eye gonorrhea, something along those lines, and it was just hysterical.
Well, there's a guy that's a great guy that used to be in the Trump administration, that's not, and came around, has been really a hero for us, and he's a very sweet guy. He's happily married, and at one point, Guilfoyle has been calling him. He was with her between Gavin Newsom and Don Jr., the fake relationship she has with Don Jr. And during the relationship with Don Jr., she keeps drunk calling this man. And she calls a lot of dudes. And so I said it publicly who he was. He's a very good friend of mine. And
it's Anthony, right?
I'm not saying
I'll take that as a yes.
I'm not saying. I can't say because I pulled it down off my tweet because the man, whoever that is his wife, who is a saint, and asked me to,
I've never seen you not give out a name.
Well, why would I have to when somebody else just did? And by the way, there's
allegedly.
I will say something about Scaramucci. He is so kind. He paid for Michael Cohen's daughter's surgery. He went up to prison and visited him. And in one of the phone calls, you could hear me go, hey, what about Anthony making sure I had your second cell phone number? And when he visited you, he brought me back another number. And he goes, Anthony Scaramucci? I go, that's see, look at that. We know 4 Anthonys that visited you in prison, and we're giving us cell phones between us two. And gives another Anthony. And the fact that Michael Cohen and I had 4 different Anthonys that are coming in out of prison, giving us different cell phones so that he could share information to get his sentence reduced, because I was talking to the congressman for him and giving, but I did want his sentence reduced, but he was also cooperating with the you tried. Well, it'll come out now that. But you, Lori, let me talk to you. Now, do you know,
I love when Sasha face plants, by the way.
Do you know Anthony?
We had him on. He's great. He's so funny.
He's very great. I mean, that guy really is, because he went in 2018 when I went to New York first, my show, I went over, I said, here's a list of guys I gotta meet. I gotta, and the guys I felt knew the most. And I went over and met with him, and I knew he was a quality human being, and he was honest, and he wanted Trump to be like him. He wanted Trump to say things about him that he said about Trump, and Trump. He wanted Trump to be honorable, and Trump wasn't.
Good luck.
And at the time he'd been fired, but he blamed John Kelly, and he blamed the bad people around Trump for Trump being bad. And I said, that's absolutely not true. Trump is scum. And he came a long way. And, eventually came out here to Craig's. And Trump was tweeting. And I took my kids down to meet him and him. I met him.
Craig's the restaurant?
Yeah, Craig's the restaurant. And his wife was out here with him. I took my 6 and 4-year-old at that time down to me. But I said, right now you need to tweet something nasty at Trump. It needs to be scorched earth. I'd say they did Michael Cohen, except I didn't have to rough up Anthony Scaramucci. And he tweeted a nasty tweet at Trump, and that was their real breakup. And he really broke up with him.
Yeah.
First he was like, got to keep a foot in the door. And he's been a hero, and he's lost a lot of money from his fund because of that. We
asked him what made you change, because even after he was let go, he was still sticking up for Trump, and he said, you know what? You don't come after my wife.
Yeah. Well, he gave up. He missed the birth of his child for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And he really is loyal. But so out of respect for his wife, who's great, I am not going to. And out of respect for Anthony, who deserves all the respect in the world. And let me tell you something. Anthony Scaramucci got John Kelly to go on camera and talk about Trump's lack of character and why he was not didn't have what it took to be president. He was the first person to do that, and John Kelly would never speak on camera. I mean, I can't even describe how big of a deal that was for us. Then the other military people started coming forward. Then they started sharing more. And Anthony didn't have. He had his podcast, but he had a camera there. And it really was a game changer for other people, for the Trump administration coming forward. And Anthony, who feuded with John Kelly, it was such a big thing for him to get that, and at the time we were all flailing like, we got to get as much dirt. We got to just get the word out. We got to get people to step up. And for him to do that, and he did it in the most clever way, So, the thing about Guilfoyle, I mean, it's about her character, and it's about Don Jr. really. But I'm sure that a lot of, but respectfully to the Scaramucci's, but that's true.
Did you get a lot of the nuts coming after you and attacking you for all, because you you were incredibly outspoken, and we all are very thankful for that, because you did play a major part in it. Even if it's just to bring awareness to stuff, like so what the Mark Brunette tapes never came out. You brought awareness to the fact that you think that they exist and that they're there. And did his lawyers ever come after you? Did Mark Brunette ever try to shut you up, or he's just sitting on his pile of money, he doesn't care?
I got the lawyers to admit that they exist, where they are, that they're hiding them to protect Mark Brunette and Donald Trump, that they include every moment from the time Donald Trump got out of his car till the moment he left, that they have to keep them, because when they syndicate the show, legally they have to be part of that, because the show is a game show. And so federal law says you have to have everything that the star of the show does to prove that he's not being influenced by the advertisers, which is the federal law. That's come a long way from them saying, oh, they don't exist. And in fact, they haven't. The truth is, they haven't even been edited. And because of the technology of the cameras, there's a chip in there that never stops rolling. And there was 18 cameras rolling at all times, and no one has ever seen that. And also being friends with the person that was the producer of the show, and eventually getting to talk to everybody because of my show that were on the shows, and then, his victims. And so, it's not over. And Mark Brunette tried to shut me up by choking me at that night before the Emmys party, that big, huge party. And, where, it was,
really, like goofingly, or
they made a lot of news. That was a big story.
Yeah, I did. And it's funny because the guy that he's got a new documentary out called "The Dissident" about the Khashoggi, the Jamal Khashoggi murder. Brian Fogel, who's a friend of mine, he just won an Oscar for Icarus, the best documentary Oscar, about the Russian doping scandal. And my friend, he called me up and said, hey, do you want to go to this party tonight? And I said, this big Katzenberg thing. And I said, I don't know. I said, my show's coming out, and Vice is weird with me. And, because they don't want me talking about Trump. They don't want to. He said, let's go. We'll just go there for a little bit. Everybody in Hollywood's there. And we're the last two people walking in. And I see at the top of the stairs is Mark Brunette. And he's all tough guy. Like, you're not getting past me, like the king of the hill, like when you're in grade school. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. That dumbass, he's all drunk, Mark Brunette. He's at the top of that thing. Like, he's going to block me at the top of the stairs. I'm like, yeah. So I start walking up the stairs, and Brian Fogel doesn't know who he is. I'm sure it's kind of dark. And so I'm like, I could just go up there, knock him on his ass. But I think, well, screw it. It's a fancy night. It's for the motion picture home.
It's a fancy
I'm not going to do anything. So I kind of go over this way a little bit, walk around him, and all of a sudden he grabs me, because he was a special forces guy in the UK, which is almost like being a real special forces guy. And he does this, but he gets a windpipe, something he learned from Bear Grylls or something. And it does take me back for, I'm on stairs, and I kind of lose my balance a bit. And so I grab his belt loop like this. I'm like, and I do like my balance. So I'm grabbing his belt loop like this. I'm like, hey, motherfucker,
okay,
you better let me get my balance so we can fight fair. So I pull myself up the top of the stairs, and then I get a little air between. And then I'm able to fucking unload on him. And then he has got his gold Jesus chain, I fucking rip that off of his neck, and I throw that. Then I just want to, and I hear Jeff Probst, he's a host of Survivor, goes, oh my God, Mark, you're choking him. Stop. And then people start breaking us up, how they do in a fight. And then I'm like, I just got to get some face.
You need to use me in the story.
And I got to get some face. I'm just going to do damage to his face and his clothes. And I rip it. He's got a pink, like what was the gang that was in Greece, the girl gang, the pink,
pink ladies.
Pink ladies.
I ripped that off, and at the top of the stairs,
bomber jacket.
No, they had a name, the pink ladies. Yeah. I ripped that as a bomber jacket. I ripped that off, but there was nobody walking upstairs. It was dark as their last view. At top stairs, every huge celebrity. So unfortunately, they just called me going, "Hey, motherfucker, you Trump fucker!" And then people broke it up, and then they took us the security took me over there and him or wherever, and they're like, I'm like, hey, they go, hey, could you not call the cops because it's a motion picture of? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to call the cops. Could you get him over here though so we can finish this shit? And then they're like, yeah, well, I think you should leave. And I go, I should leave. Why? The fucking dude attacked me. Is he leaving? And Ryan Fogel's like, I'm not leaving. I just got I won an Oscar, and I'm going in here. And he like takes off running, and I said, I won't call the cops here. But and then all of a sudden, Marty Singer calls me, my lawyer. He's like, you got to call the cops right now because the wife of that guy, Robert Downey Jr., just tweeted a picture of an old bruise on her head.
Downey Jr.
And he said that you attacked her too. That you attacked him and her. And why? And she's like, why is your show? What is a TV show worth it, Tom? I didn't even see her.
Yeah.
She was nowhere to be found, and she attacked a bruise. Now she's got me attacking a woman.
It's very unchristian of her to lie.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're horrible people. And so I'm like, and then all of a sudden Jeffrey Katzenberg comes running in, like, you know, he's like, okay, nobody has to leave, but do me a favor, go back in. But if you see him, promise me you won't kick his ass. I'm like, yeah, I promise. But can I come to your office next week and we help me plot to get Trump out of office? He's like, absolutely not. But so went back in, and it was the best party I've ever been to. And we stayed till the end. And it was funny because I was talking to Rhoda Farrow as I walked into that party about a tape that I was uploading for him. And literally as I walked into that party, I was talking to him. And
you need a witness with you wherever you go.
And then a guy that has a gossip website, like a NT lawyer, called when I was there, and my butt answered it. So he heard me just fucking going off on various versions of what happened. Fortunately, he didn't hold it against me, but it was like a 45 minutes of me talking to everybody. But, you know, we left that, and that's what happened.
It was a great party.
That sounds like a great party.
Listen to this. But then I did have to go to the police the next day, and then nobody would testify for me. Nobody would say they saw anything. And then Mark Brunette had all those guys say I attacked him, including Jeff Probst from, the whatever show, Survivor. And even my friend Brian Fogel's like, hey, I don't want to say anything. I go, but you said, oh, my God, he attacked you, and you even had your phone out and filmed a little of it. He's like, yeah, I got this movie coming out. I'm just afraid to do it. And,
yeah, nobody wants to mess with the money.
No, I know, but think about this. This movie is about Jamal Khashoggi, who was a journalist who risked his life and ended up getting murdered by MBS, a guy that was friendly with Trump, and it was a journalist who risked his life. And
do you want to take Mark Brunette to a Saudi embassy in Turkey?
Well, first of all, I worked at a meatpacking plant, so I would know how to debone.
Yeah, anytime you bring a bone saw to a meeting, things are not going to go well.
Yeah, but the police they were so nice, and we were back to see the crime. They couldn't get anything, and they said, we've tried everything. We appreciate it. And surely, Mark Brett's one of the most powerful people in my business. Surely there's an ethics clause in his contract as the CEO of this huge corporation that if you physically attack someone at a party in this modern day, that there's some kind of repercussion. And then if your wife falsely accuses someone of assaulting her in this Me Too age and puts it up on the internet and defames me, there should be a little consequence. In fact, the next year, I wasn't invited back to the party, and they were.
I wonder why.
So, well, but seriously, that's not right. And everything I've done about Trump has been right. Mm-hmm. You know, he is racist. He's anti-Semitic. Look what he did to our country. Look what he spread the lie. Look what ended up happening at the Capitol.
Yep.
And so I'll stand by everything I did. And even with the Jerry Falwell, I'm the one that got. He would still have a job if I hadn't recorded Michael Cohen talking about how he had pictures of him and the wife and the pool boy And then if I had befriended the pool boys to come forward and all of this stuff. So, and they're all connected to Trump and blackmail and illegal activities. And so I'm.
Well, look, you played a big part. And we can't thank you enough for
a citizen.
Exposing the stuff.
I did
Seriously.
what we all have to do in a democracy.
It's the truth, but it's
Yeah, I hear you. What we all do, what you guys do, with your show, what you given us an opportunity to talk, and we all got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, we had Miles Taylor on, who that was probably one of the most interesting interviews that we've done, where he was telling us about how they gave him a pen that was really a weapon to tell him that they're going to come after you, how you're going to stab somebody in the neck, and how to release it, and just I asked him a lot about we got into what it was like to break that op-ed, and then you're just sitting there with them. And your phone goes off, and there's the op-ed hits, and people are asking each other, "Do you know who it is?" He wants to know who it is. He was such a great guest. We had him on. We had Rick Wilson on. We had Noel Kassler on, who actually introduced us. Who's just awesome. Has got so many great stories about Trump, and we did what we could in any way that we could, because we felt the same way that you did, that the man just did not. We're New Yorkers. We knew what a piece of scum he was long before everyone else even figured it out, long before Apprentice. We knew what a dirtbag he was back to the Central Park 5 days. We knew that. So in our small way, we wanted to do whatever we could to get the word out. This was never a show where we talked about politics at all. But Lori and I just felt like we were mad, and we wanted to, even if we got one person to change their mind, that would be enough for us, So what you did was probably a lot more than one person. So
it is about one person. It's just I'm just one person, and you just speak up. And I like you guys. I've known it 35 years. I do the same thing you did. It's just the truth. Everything else is bullshit. So, there are so many people out there that believe this other thing. And it's also not our job to go, well, what about 74 million? Well, what about 74 million?
Who gives a shit?
They lost. Right. 81 million people won. And in our country, if someone loses a game 81 to 74, you don't go, well, we need to celebrate the losers.
Right. Yeah. No.
They lost. The loser of the Super Bowl. You don't go, man, we got to keep.
I just don't know how the entire country didn't come together the day the Capitol building stuff happened.
I completely agree with you. It's just proof of how far gone this has become and how much damage has been done. And it's not just him, obviously. It's the enablers. It's Fox News. And now you've got Newsmax, which is taking that to another level, because even Fox News doesn't go near some of this QAnon shit, which is now... I read these Parler. There's a Twitter account called Parler Takes where they just.
I know the person that has that.
Yeah,
she's an activist with me on. We have a real small activist.
So
group.
like
when you. What's the new day they say Trump will be president again?
It's like March 6th.
4th of March.
The 4th of March. Yeah.
Next
so.
Thursday.
Yeah. So, I start to read some of these things, and I start to read like the theories that go behind it. And you can't, Sasha, you can't fix that. You can't reason with that. It's insanity. These are people who think that the vaccine is Bill Gates putting tracking devices in us, and people who think that, Tom Hanks, probably Tom Arnold, they probably threw you in there, are eating the adrenal glands of children to get. I mean, this is the level.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Well, what you do on your free time is your own business, Tom.
Yeah, but it's up to the leaders. The thing about Trump is we never had a leader that just, not only that just enabled all that said, we got to ask about QAnon. I don't know what they are. I know they like me. And so
I know they're against pedophilia.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yes, sir. And Proud Boys, what a proud.
But what about the non-QAnon members, the non-conspiracy people that also voted for Trump quietly, privately, didn't tell their names?
Well, that's because they're racist.
Right. Well, you know what?
We've never had a racist in charge before.
Right.
I have people that that I know that said their argument was always, "Hey man, my 401k is doing good. I don't care."
Yeah.
But then after the Capitol thing, I would say, "Okay, are you going to agree with me now that the 401k maybe isn't the most important fucking thing going on right now?" And still, like they would say, well, "I don't know. You got to look at the voting is suspicious and all." It's just like when he was winning in the middle of the night. If you think about the timeline here, and I don't want to keep you guys forever, but just if you think about the timeline here, for months and months, all he said was that the mail-in voting is going to be fraud. He said it for months and months beforehand. He then quietly went to court in all of the swing states to get them to not be able to count the mail-in votes until after the regular votes, knowing damn well that he would be winning in the beginning and then all of a sudden lose, so that he could then say, see, something happened overnight. That's the thing you hear. What miraculously happened overnight? They counted the fucking votes. That's what happened overnight. The votes that you didn't allow them to do it. Now in Georgia, for the runoffs, instead, what they were allowed to count the votes ahead of time. So guess what? You knew right away, and it was over, and there was no controversy. I'm shocked that they didn't fight those. I thought that was going to happen next, because that was a big deal. But now that the Democrats have the House and the Senate, they need to get a little bit more balls. I think they're still a little soft on how they handle things. Like if they just force everything through. I don't want to hear about the compromise. They're not going to compromise. When Mitch McConnell is there, they're not going to compromise. Just force what you want through. The Republicans never cared about what was right or wrong about that. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe we should get, maybe we shouldn't just force a Supreme Court, justice through just to do it. But they did it. So now we should do the same fucking thing.
I agree.
They just don't.
I think you're going to force John Lewis voting rights because there's so many states that are trying to really change so people can't vote. That's the only way they can win. Yeah. I think they're going to, I think they're going to start forcing things through.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, what's next for you, Tom?
I'm going to Italy next Thursday to film a movie.
Are you going too, Sasha?
She is going. She's going to my second week there. Yeah, we got a.
I don't have a ticket, Tom.
Yeah, well, I don't have a ticket either. That's how it goes.
He's basically bringing me up there just when he gets bored.
Instead of my kids. Well,
for him and Michael Madsen to play with me like I'm a doll.
Michael Madsen. That's it. Michael Madsen's a great actor, man.
Yeah, he's great. We did one at Michael. I did one in November, December. He's my elf. I was Santa, and now I guess we're doing a Halloween one together.
Did you see the pictures of my feet on the internet that Tom posted?
Yeah.
No, but I need to.
Yeah, I need to see them now.
I told Tom, I was like, I love Quentin Tarantino. All I've ever wanted to do is work with him. Yeah. And as a joke, I told Tom, hey, tell Michael that, I got a crooked toe. I got some nice feet. And he FaceTimes with me, which we did all the time when we were over there. And then he puts Michael on the phone. He's like, hey, show him your feet. I had no problem showing him. I'm like, look, they're good, right? Like, it's on brand for him. And he's like, Michael's like, oh yeah, Quentin would like those. I stupidly, anything you tell this man, you could be like, hey, please do not tell anybody. This really needs to stay between us. He's going to say it. So I sent a picture of my feet to Tom and I said, send these to Michael so he can send them to Quentin Tarantino. The next fucking thing I know, this motherfucker puts them on Twitter, on Instagram. It's like, hey, this is Sasha Boggs' feet for Quentin Tarantino. I was so angry. Platforms and deleted my feet off his page.
But women are making a ton of money doing it on OnlyFans. Just their feet.
Michael's wife has a page. She's like, "What?" And her friends, and they do make a ton. I can't imagine why you wouldn't. What an easy any man would do.
I don't want them to know it's my feet.
So you just can't. So basically, you can't tell Tom something in confidence because then it comes out.
Absolutely.
My friend, my very Jewish young friend for the Jerusalem Post, because Quentin's in Israel. He saw him before he took it down. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to interview him. I'm going to take these over to because he thinks we're funny, and I always say I write things, and he does. He's trying to do comedy bits now. Very conservative Jewish young man who knows everything about.
And this nice guy was like, "Do you want me to send the pictures?"
Yeah, he did. I go, "Would you please? That'll be."
Would you please?
Well, in confidence, Tom, I don't want anyone else to know that we don't want you and Arnold Schwarzenegger on at the same time on this show. I'm telling you in confidence. I don't want anybody else to know about it. All right? Keep it quiet. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Sasha, you can follow Sasha, by the way. Sasha's mentioned a couple of times, her Twitter feed. It is very funny. Your Instagram stories are great. And a lot of times
I love it.
I like that there are sometimes just her facial reactions while Tom speaks in the background. To me alone that's a movie I would watch for hours alone.
Like Sasha should do a Sarah Cooper, like how Sarah Cooper does Trump. You could just mimic Tom.
Yeah, just see Tom's back.
It would be really funny.
It would be great.
Yeah. No, I feel like my face is almost sign language for Tom.
Yeah.
But
that's a good idea, Lori.
Yeah. But you can follow her at Slappy Boggs.
Yeah.
Boggs. Follow Sasha for sure. And of course, at Tom Arnold, follow Tom. Yeah. Both of your feeds are great. And thank you again for coming back. You guys are our favorite guests without a doubt. And once again, I said nobody could top it. You just topped yourself. So there you go.
1 hour and 47 seconds, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
We appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Anytime. Right. Have a safe trip. Good luck with the movie, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.